I always forget to change my volume source, my speaker source from my computer to my headphones. So only the mic is working on my headphones. I found this village that we've already found apparently while exploring. Yep, we've already found it. So yep, this is, okay, I know which village this is. Okay, see, as you can see, I've made a little bit of progress. I've spent a couple of Minecraft days hiking and boating. Yeah, this is the life. It's the life I lead. Doing boring exploration of nothing. Literally nothing. Oh, hi, sheep. Haven't seen you before. A wolf. Oh, I don't have any bones on me. Oh, two wolves. I don't have any bones on me. Well, that's sad. That is very sad. Alright, I'm getting rid of these saplings. Okay, I guess I can't drop them. Okay. Or maybe I can't drop them while I'm in a boat. Oh my gosh, that is loud. Didn't realize how loud that was coming from the speakers. I think a wolf just killed a sheep. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw something die. It was either a pig or a cow or a sheep. Saturday night, barely. It's pretty much Sunday, and I've got some D&D to do. I've got a couple applications to fill out for scholarships. I've got a few reports and speeches to write. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I'm only taking 4 classes this semester. Last semester I was taking 6 classes. So I didn't have 6 finals, because one of them was just a seminar that is required to be taken by all students called College 100, but the other 5 I did have finals in. And some of them were easier than others, but still, 5 finals, which was nuts. So this semester, I actually have a communications class where the final is this group battle. Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm taking fundamentals of speech, but my instructor is or has created a gamified version of the class, and she is our game master, and she has a bunch of quests that are our assignments that we have to do, and doing these quests earns us experience, and a third of our grade comes from experience doing these quests. The rest of our grade comes from stuff like attending class and doing well on our speeches that we give, because it's a fundamentals of speech class. So I'm doing pretty well. I still have a few things to do in that class though to make it to the 3,000 points of XP. But I'm only 500 away. But yeah, so I'm probably not even gonna have to actually battle, because it's only top 5 players in the entire class or something, or maybe it's like top guild member. I don't quite know. Ouch. Okay, it's time for me to go south again. But yeah, this whatchamacallit, the game, it's not really a final, like, I mean, it's a final technically, but I don't actually have to sit down and take a test for 2 hours. It's not that kind of final. So that leaves, I have another economics class. It's taught by the same dude who I did my last economics class with. So the class format is pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is last semester I had macroeconomics, and this semester I've got microeconomics. so it's pretty much the same class. However, trying to think of how to put this up. So that leaves philosophy and astronomy. Philosophy, I'm definitely going to have to take a full-blown test that's not even going to take me the full 2-hour window. It's going to take me like 40 minutes max if I spend a minute answering each question. Like, the only way it's going to take me 2 hours to finish this test is if I spend a legitimate 3 minutes thinking about answers to every question. Because there's only 40 questions. I mean, there's only been 40 questions on the previous tests. Honestly, college is so much fun and easier than high school because you get to have a wider flexibility of when your classes are. I mean, yes, you can't just be like, I want to take X class at this time on these days. That's not like that, because the teachers have to actually have periods where they designate, so that way they don't have one class period that's like, oh well, only one student wanted to learn philosophy at 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. and then have a class of 300 that were like, I want to do philosophy at 10 a.m. and go till 11 a.m. So there's that. But is this? Yeah, that's Black Sheep. Okay. But still, you get a lot of flexibility with when your classes are. For instance, this semester, I've got a class at 8 a.m. that goes to 9 a.m. Well, 9:15. But I also have classes that are like 9 to 11, and 11 to 12:15, and 12:30 to 1:45. Not all in the same day. Not all on the same day. In fact, some classes I'm in, one class I'm in actually meets 3 times a week, and that's the astronomy class. So I meet in the class, or I go to the class from 9 to 11 Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then all my other classes are 2 days out of the week, but they're also not 50 minutes long like normal classes would be. So my economics class is Mondays and Wednesdays from 12:30 to 1:45. Then Tuesdays and Thursdays I have philosophy, as well as speech, aka communications class, because I'm going to call it that at some point during this video, I can already tell. But for Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go to philosophy at 8 until like 9:15, and I go to communications from 11 to 12:15. So, yeah, my Friday this semester starts, my weekend starts at 11 a.m. Legitimately. Because I'm actually exaggerating when I say that my astronomy class lasts till 11. It's only 10:40. But it does take me anywhere from 20 minutes to half an hour to get to and from class to my home. So it is just after 11 a.m. when my weekend is starting, which I think is really awesome. Next semester, I've got an even better schedule. I don't have it right next to me, but Fridays, my only class on Fridays is from 12:30 to 2 something, and it's bowling. I literally get to go bowl for 2 hours a week, every week, for $100, and I'm very excited. So yeah, I've got those 4 classes for this semester. And back to the original point, not all teachers will do some kind of cumulative final. I had 2 teachers last semester who did do a cumulative. I went way too far. I had 2 teachers who did a cumulative, which is basically, for those of you who don't know, it is a test that tests over everything you've learned in the class since you started class. So everything over the past semester in that class was tested on. But a lot of teachers in college don't actually do this. It's more like, well, I've got the semester split up into 4 big units, each of them with their own test. So the first test and the third test are definitely going to just be normal tests, just a month into the semester, no big deal. Your midterm is just the second test of the 4. It's not weighted any differently. And then your final is just the 4th test. That is literally what happens. It is amazing. Man, I really need to pay more attention to this thing. Can I sleep? Only at night. Okay. So, college in that way is much more fun and way easier than public education, like high schools, because I don't have to, well, I mean, that's a lie. That was going to be a lie. I do have to get up at 6:30 just so that way I can leave the house by 7 so I can make it to my philosophy class by 8, because traffic is awful. And I have to get up at 7 sometimes to get out of the house by 8 so that way I can make it to my astronomy class by 9, because I'm actually, okay, real quick, my school is divided into 5 campuses. In a typical school district, you'll have at least 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, a junior high and or high school, depending on how the grades are divided up. And with each of those schools, it is a campus. So that's basically what my college does. So they have 5 campuses in it's in like 4 different cities within my state. 1 of them, or 2 of them are in the same city, and but they're half an hour apart because of how big the city is, and how bad driving in them is. But the others are in their own cities. And you can get to each of them within like half an hour of each other. Like half an hour from one is, you can hit any of them depending on which direction you go. I mean, except for the ones that are, the 2 that are north and south of each other. Like the northernmost campus and the southernmost campus are like an hour away from each other. So that kind of sucks. But I don't go to both of those. I only go to one of them. I go to the southern one. But yeah, so there's 5 different campuses. And I have to, and all of them are half an hour from my house. So I have to leave like an hour before my class starts. Just that way I can have the time between traffic and like mental health, I guess. I'm not sure how to explain it. Like, I just need that time. I'm not even looking at my map anymore. I just want to get onto the Uncharted part now. That's all I'm caring about right now. So, as I was saying, college is a lot more fun because you get to choose more or less when your classes are, kind of where they are, depending on what kind of school you go to and if they've got multiple campuses or not. And a lot of the teachers are actually really laid back and cool. So they don't have 50 large tests and homework every night, unless it's something like algebra class or something, or other math class. Math class does have homework, I will say that. So if you guys are going to be starting college or going to college in the future, and you are taking any math courses, expect math homework. There's no way around that. But I think I've had, with the exception of papers and speeches, I've had maybe 3 or 4 classes that gave out homework. That gave out official homework. So, take that however you will, but that's just been my experience. But still, I find it more fun than high school because I'm not in I'm not in one spot for like an hour, switching up every hour for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm literally in school. With high school, the longest you stay in for classes, not detention, not clubs, not sports, but for classes, just sitting and learning, is 35 to 40 hours a week, I believe. With college, it's every credit hour you're taking, or whenever you see on an enrollment form for a college or university class, and you'll see different values next to the course, like 3 hours or 5 hours or 1 hour, whatever it is. That means that that's how many hours every week you'll be spending in a classroom for that class. So 3-hour credit classes, or 3 credit hour classes, like my philosophy and communication and economics classes, they meet for for 3 hours every week. And for those 3 classes, actually, I meet 2 days a week. So I'm in class for an hour and a half. Well, a little less, but roughly an hour and a half for each of those class periods. And then I've got astronomy with a lab, which is 5 hours. So I'm in class 5 hours a week. Now they're not going to do 2.5 hours on a day and 2.5 hours on the next day. Instead, I'm doing about an hour and a half for 3 days. So I'm in class for anywhere from 1.5 to 3 hours a day, which is really awesome if you think about it, because that's half the actual time spent in a high school classroom, if you think about it. So whenever you see someone with degrees, like an associate's, that means that they just spent 2 years doing 15, they spent 2 years going to 15 hours of class time in a week. So they spent 2 years doing 15 hours in a classroom every week for 16 weeks a semester for 2 semesters a year, which is incredible. So that is some dedication. And it's actually kind of weird because that's less time spent in a high school classroom, because you spend 40 hours a week for not even just high school, but for public education. You spend 40 hours a week in a classroom for 32 weeks a year, give or take. I mean, you've got a couple weeks for your summer vacation, not your summer, but your winter vacation. You might have a few days, maybe a week for spring break. So that's 3 weeks. That's an additional 3 weeks, which is like 35. And then you've got 3.5 months for, well, I'd say close to 3 months for summer, which is 12 to 13 weeks. So, I mean, I guess that's... Someone do the math for me. Welcome to Microsoft Paint, where we're going to do some math. We have 40 hours that you have to do for 36 weeks a year for 13 years. Added together, or not added, multiplied together, we get 18,720 hours to get a high school diploma. I'm just going to call it the HS Dip. Now, with this same logic, we spend 15 hours a week in college in a classroom for 32 weeks a year for 2 years, which becomes 960 hours to get an associate's. And I'm not writing out the abbreviation for an associate's, so I'm just going to do associates in arts like I'm getting, and probably what most of you guys are going to get if you go to college. Now, when you do divide these, when you divide this number by this number, you will be able to see that you can get almost 20 associate's degrees in the time that it takes you to get a high school degree or diploma. It's not a degree, it is a diploma. And then when you go to the next level, which is a bachelor's, you can actually get about 10 bachelor's with the time that it takes you to get a diploma. You can get about 5 doctorates, which is the second level above bachelor's, because there's masters in between, but I don't want to do that math. You can get 5 doctorates for the time that it takes you to get a high school diploma, which is insane. So this 4 out of 9. So yeah, I don't even know what all of the last video contained. Yeah, I don't know what all was or not last video, but last clip said. 6, 7, 8. But yeah, that's just yeah. I've got a video coming out soon whenever I get around to making it. But I'm hoping that it'll help any of you who do have college coming up and see some issues with acquiring materials for the class. So hopefully that'll be out relatively soon. I don't see why it won't be. This is going to be so satisfying to finally finish filling those out. After finals week is done, I'm probably going to sit here for a day and just run around. I need to get potatoes farmed and cooked, so that way I can have more than this one stack that we've got. I also could probably do some farming. So yeah, I think this is going to be it for the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I had fun making it and talking about my experiences in school, because it is just an amazing experience that you really should consider going. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you all in the next one. I love you all. Sayonara, and subscribe. Bye!